Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, good day, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome. Welcome to Crypto Traders Room. This is your host, Crypto Trader, aka Jonas. Hope everybody's having a great start to the weekend. It's Friday for me here. It might be Saturday for some of you, depending on your time zone. But yeah, market's looking great. This is probably the best performing market I've ever seen. To be honest with you guys, this is just outperforming any other type of investments that anybody or that I could even think of, and we're going to cover Bitcoin as well too, but, there aren't any other investments out there, aside from cryptocurrency that are, putting these types of returns in people's pockets. It's just insane. And, I follow the stock market for years, and, you'd have to be invested in years and years in Apple and Microsoft in order to see these types of returns. So, it's a hot market. It's a crazy market, and this is the time for everybody to capitalize. But before we kind of get started, I kind of pulled this up earlier, and it kind of shows us just the percentage of total market capitalization dominance, and it kind of shows back in 2013, how dominating Bitcoin was with 93.8%. Basically, Ethereum didn't have anything. It shows 0%, with Litecoin at 5%. But as time went on, BTC still maintained that dominance up until really, was it February 2027? I'm sorry, February 27th, 2017. It was ever since then that the dominance of other altcoins definitely started to exceed, and the dominance of Bitcoin, of course, started to drop. But, at one point, over 90% in dominance of BTC. So alts are definitely, putting their share in to bring the market capitalization to where it is now, over 176 billion dollars. That's huge, even though it's not a lot of money, in the sense of a total market. This is, it's not a big market. It's a very small market that we're in. Even though 176 billion dollars is a lot, there are basically single companies out there, Fortune 500 companies that have that type of market cap, and that's a single company. So we're talking about a whole market, with tons of coins to have that 176 billion. So we still got to remember that this is still a very thinly traded market. Definitely, don't even think that this is a market that's really dominating every other market. Yes, in the sense of price it is, but in the sense of market cap, it's still very, very, very small in comparison to a bunch of other things. But current dominance of BTC is 45%, Ether 21%, Litecoin 2%, Ripple 5%, Dash, NIM, with about a 1.5% dominance. And then, of course, Monero and Ethereum Classic are on there, which Ethereum Classic is, making a run today, of course. But let's get to the comment, welcome some people to the room. And if you are a new time viewer, welcome. And don't forget to click on that subscribe button, as well as the post notification. And thank you for finding us. And if you do find some of this information helpful, pound that like button. Pound that like button. Enrique, welcome. Sky Tech from Cali, welcome, buddy. Hope all is well. I don't know if you told me where in Cali you live, but I made that trip from Nevada, right outside of San Francisco. Took US Highway 1 all the way down to San Diego. Great trip. And yes, Litecoin is on fire. So is the Ethereum Classic. Really a lot of things are on fire. And LTC, this is something that it should have done a while ago. It was very stagnant in that, mid $40 range, 45, 46, 47, dipping to 42. It was stuck in that range for a very, very long period of time, longer than any other cryptocurrencies that I've seen, that has the backing of the community and the backing of the developers. But yeah, it was long overdue. BTC needed to get up to that point, and I'm sorry, LTC, she needed to get up to that point, and she definitely got up to it. Now she just has to maintain it. She really has to maintain. What is she at now? Almost 80 bucks. She has to maintain it. And, I told somebody a while back that, as long as she maintains at 60 bucks and stays above that 60 bucks, and I think she might've been at $63, $64. I said, for it to hit 80, should be very easy for it. 80 should be very easy. And she's gotten there. So 100 bucks, very attainable, highly attainable for this thing. And I said, months ago, that end of year target was 100 bucks. So it'll definitely get there before that. Andreas, welcome, buddy. Yes, ETC had a nice move. And I thought about you too when I kind of saw it drop into about 1165. I didn't have an order in, but I wish I did, at least to try to catch it at 12 bucks. Because you and I had talked about that previously. about where a good buy was. And I said, I'd like that $12. And, and we'll look at the chart as well too. We'll definitely take a look at it. Secure Zone. Welcome. Sarah, South Africa. Thank you for joining. I do appreciate it. Darkness. You lost everything in Houston. Dude, I'm sorry, man. I am so sorry. A lot of people were affected by it. Actually, I hung out with a buddy of mine yesterday. He was in town, and he's from Houston as well, too. And he hasn't been back to Houston, I think, in 2.5 weeks, he said. So, yeah, dude, I'm sorry to hear that, bud. Yeah, but those coins will always be there. That's a nice thing. Does BTC rise mean an increase or decrease in altcoin prices in general? Man, we've seen both things happen. When BTC starts to rise, alt starts to drop, and BTC decides to drop and alt will rise. Money will shift, but we haven't really seen that too much at all. And I haven't really been following a lot of the little altcoins, to be honest with you. I'll follow the dominating altcoins basically. Sacramento. All right, so you're up north. You're up north. Andres, so let's see. First question of the day. ETH will probably have a correction. How should I add up when it comes using some open positions? I'm assuming you have a position then. I'm trying to understand the question. Close the highest once to lower open average. I mean, to lower your average, you would be buying. That's definitely a long conversation we can have. But yeah, it would take up a good amount of the stream. But I mean, if you have a position in ETH and you're happy with the profits and you're not planning on holding this long term, I mean, I'm planning on holding this long term, even if it breaks out above 420. I'm not going to really sell anything. $500. Yeah, you know what? I might sell 2 or 3, to be honest with you. But as long as you're happy with the profits, you want to lock in incremental, sell whatever it is, 5%, 10% of your position as it's going up. And then if it does decide to take a dip back down, then you have the capital, you have the profit to add back onto it, if that is your strategy and if that is something that you're looking to do. But yeah, I mean, it could have a correction. Any of these could have a correction. And, we'll take a look at BTC and possibly where the correction could come down to. I'm not saying that BTC is going to correct, but if there was a correction, where would the correction possibly be? So we'll plot that out on BTC. Ark, welcome, buddy. Secure Zone, not a problem, man. I'm glad you found the insight helpful. But yeah, if you do like that, pound that like button, pound it. Entry at ETC at 1230. That's great, man. That is great. And yeah, I mean, this could be the time for ETC. ETC was also lagging. Same thing with Litecoin. So, the tides turn and it's their turn to kind of make a move. Matthew from Atlanta. I will probably be driving through Atlanta sometime within the next 8 months or so. But yeah, if I end up driving through a state, I'll let you guys know. And if you're close by, we can definitely do a meet and greet. Darkness, and I forget to mention this in some of the live streams, but I am not a licensed financial advisor, so I really can't advise you personally of what you should do with your trades. I can kind of talk about maybe what I would do if I was in a certain situation, but that's not an advice for you to take and place your trades based on that. You really got to do what's best for you and not really follow anybody else's leads or anybody else's comments on what to do on a trade. But PIVX is up high enough where you can sell half of your coins and still double your profit. Should you sell half? In my personal opinion, I mean, I haven't looked at PIVX, but to sell half, that's a lot, to be honest with you. If you're scaling out, I mean, if you're going to sell half, you might as well sell everything, or you might as well sell 75%, 90%. I personally wouldn't sell half if I was in that position and I was up a good amount. And, there's good news behind PIVX. So, I mean, there's a reason why you're in PIVX. You must believe in it and you must believe in the fundamentals of it. But, you got to really look at your position, first of all, and see exactly, if I sell a third of my position or a quarter of my position, or a fifth of my position, this is the profit that I'm taking. But, minimum, I like to lock in a little bit of profit. So I'll sell a little bit on the way up, and as it keeps going up higher, higher, and higher, I'll sell a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more. I don't want to lock in all my profit, in the beginning on a bull run. And if it isn't a bull run, I don't know if it is, but I want to start locking in just a little bit. And as it keeps going up higher, I want to start locking in a little bit more. So then you're getting a bigger slice of that pie. If you lock in 50% of your position right away, and it ends up really going parabolic and taking off, that's a good amount that you sold at a lower price. So I don't know. I mean, hopefully that was helpful, but I really can't advise you on your trades. But in my opinion, for me, if I was in that position, to sell half is a lot, especially if it's in a bull run. But maybe we'll take a look at pivots later on. There's a couple of things that I do want to cover. Let's get a beer. Yes, Matthew, indeed, man, indeed. I will be doing the drive from basically Central PA all the way down to the Florida Keys, not Key West, but Florida Keys. And then kind of heading up the Panhandle possibly, but we'll see. But yeah, I will definitely let you guys know. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at BTC on Crypto Watch, and we're going to basically take a look at some of the possible retracements. Where could it possibly retrace to? And these are only probabilities of where we kind of see, majority of the battle happen between the bears and the bulls, and prevented it from going up or prevented it from going down. Those are really, one aspect of the level that you want to look at, but it's not to be really taken as 100% that is where the support is. More than likely, it's not. It could break through it. You want to look at other variables as well too, and those other variables, in the sense of the order book, could be misleading too. You guys got to remember that. I said this is a very thinly traded market. There's tons of whales in this with millions and millions and millions of dollars. And if they're going to show their order in the order book, you got to think outside the box and say, okay, you know what? Why are they showing their order on a very large, sizable position? Who are they trying to shake out? More than likely, they're either going to try to shake out the buyers or they're going to try to shake out the sellers. If they're selling a good amount and they were not looking to cause any type of panic, they would hide that order. They would pay the extra fee and commission, which to them it's nothing. They would hide that order so that they don't cause a mass panic, either to the downside or upside, whatever it might be if they're buying. But yeah, so you really got to look at other variables as well too. But let's just say hypothetically BTC was to have a retracement, because really it has made a huge move. I mean, we're looking at 1826, and I'm looking at Bitfinex chart. And the reason why I'm not looking at GDAX is because GDAX shows a drop to 6 cents, and it's very hard to plot out support and resistance when you have that huge drop, because the candlesticks just are not aligned properly. Let me just show you kind of what I mean by that. But yeah, I probably won't be using GDAX on Crypto Watch, especially when I'm looking at the overall chart. So let's just say the 1-day chart. So this drop here to 6 cents basically kind of ruins everything for me to be able to plot out in support and resistance. I can't see much. I want to be able to see the whole thing, because looking at the past of any cryptocurrency will kind of tell you the future, where it might possibly go. And that's magic word is usually might. But yeah, you got to know the past to kind of try to determine what the future of it is. All right, but we're going to take a look at Bitfinex. And then I will try to get to some of the comments, but I probably won't be able to get to all of them. All right, let's see, 12-hour chart, maybe 4 hours. I need to get back to that level of 1826. All right, I'm going to go ahead and enlarge this so it's easier to see. All right, so 1826 on July 16th. Today's September 1st. So basically a month and a half. It goes from 1826 to 4836. So I mean, if you guys know of any investments that are out there that will give you this type of return in a month and a half, I mean, please let me know. In my opinion, I mean, I've never seen anything. I've never heard of anything, unless you're out in the corner, doing illegal activities, and, possibly yes. But, for a month and a half, for it to gain $3,000 in a month and a half, a lot of people working a 9-to-5 job, minimum wage, even above minimum wage, are not making that amount. Even if somebody had bought one at 1826, and they were able to kind of stomach some of these dips that are happening on the rise and then the dip, and they just bought it and held on to it. And Scott M., I don't know if you're on here, but we talked about this, yesterday. if you had bought one BTC, what it would be worth. But yeah, one BTC, a month and a half ago would net you profit $3,000. That's huge. That is huge. There aren't any other investments that are doing that. All right, so let's go ahead and plot out possible areas of retracement. All right, first area that I kind of see, and I'm going to have to go back and look at this on a larger time frame as well too, but I just kind of wanted to do a retracement line, retracement support lines, just kind of going back down to maybe 3,000. I'm not going to go down all the way to 1826 unless BTC really does start breaking key levels for some apparent reason, which I don't really see why it would, unless there's going to be tons of FUD that's going to be spread. But the 4,500 is going to be the first area, and reason why 4,500 is kind of important. And I haven't used Crypto Watch in a very long time. All right, it's going to be these little areas here where it basically had a hard time breaking out. And usually, and I've said it in the past that prior resistance becomes current support usually. But there were 3 spots, and I can't seem to put a circle there. 3 spots that I got rejected from at that 4,500 bucks. I just couldn't break out above it, and eventually it broke out above it with a vengeance. So if it does decide to come back down, that's going to be the first area of retracement, that 4,500 bucks. Second area of retracement is going to be right around a little under 4,000. So let's see exactly what that is. And you got to remember too, when I'm plotting out these points, it's not always going to be to that T accurate. But a little under 4,000, if it does decide to have a major retracement. But yeah, it's got to start breaking key levels. And basically our 200-day moving average is right at that 38.96-ish. Let me make sure that is the 200-day moving average. I think it is. Man, I forget how to use this thing. Yes, it is our 200-day moving average. So a lot of times, they do like to come back down on a correction. And when I mean on a correction, like on a nice violent dip, they do like to come back down and retest key areas of the moving average. So either the 50-day moving average, the 100-day moving average, or the 200-day moving average. This separation is pretty crazy. So it could be a little over bloated, and that it does need to come back down and retest the 100-day moving average, possibly. So we're going to put that down as our second area of support would be the 200-day moving. I'm sorry, the 100-day moving average. So, and then the 200-day moving average is going to be right around that 3,900 bucks. But yeah, if you guys are looking at some of these charts, pay attention to the moving average, and when they do dip, where they decide to dip to, just like right over here. When we really made that run up from 1826 all the way up to almost 3,000, and she came back down, she retested, that 200-day moving average. This was just way too much of a gap. And usually when there's a nice huge gap like this, it's got to come back and retest, those actual moving averages, because really that's where they should be. That's where they should belong. All right, so there's our 100-day moving average. And that's right around the 42.50-ish. So 4,500 bucks is exactly. Let me zoom in a little bit so you guys can see this a little better. So our basically 200, our 50-day moving average is right exactly where I said, it had a hard time breaking out 3 times. It kind of got rejected from that 4,500 bucks. So that 4,500 bucks is our 50-day moving average. The 42.50-ish is our 100-day moving average, and then right around the 3,900 bucks, the 38.80 is our 200-day moving averages. So, if she does have a nice little correction, a major sell-off and panic selling that ensues, then she could come right back and test that level of the 200-day moving average. But if shit hits the fan and crazy things are happening, there are other areas that she will be coming back down to. And really retesting those levels. That's going to be right around between the 3,500 and 3,600. So between 3,500 and 3,600, if she does decide to break below the 200-day moving average because of crazy stuff that's being spread, especially the fight between Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash supporters, it could crack through some of those levels and really come back right down to that 3,500 bucks. If it cracks 3,500 bucks, which I really don't see that happening anytime soon. And I think I need to zoom out of this a little more. Right around 3,200 bucks. And then last but not least, 3,000. And 3,000 is going to be a very, very crucial level. So let's go ahead and zoom out and take a look at the $3,000 level. All right, so we're kind of zooming out all the way out to April. 888 bucks. Look at that. 735 bucks. Man, I remember these crazy dips. I remember them like they were yesterday. Crazy move. All right, so 3,000 is going to be very important because, a couple times, and really, I mean, it got close to it here. It got all the way up to almost 2,700 bucks. Here, it got rejected at that 3,000 level, and then really came back down and had a nice correction down to 1826, as well as 2,000. 2,050 bucks was kind of that low on this candlestick here, and 1826 was a low on that candle there, and then attempted to break out again, had a retracement, and then finally just got tired of being stuck in that level and decided to just completely break out from the 3,000 all the way to 4836, en route to 5,000, which for it to hit 5,000, less than 170 bucks, 165 bucks. That's really nothing for BTC, and I'm surprised she hasn't really already done it yet. Touched it and then kind of maybe retraced back down to 4,800 bucks. I'm very surprised she hasn't, and I think she can definitely do that before Saturday even starts. Before midnight tonight, Eastern time zone. If it doesn't do it within the next couple of hours, but those are areas that I would be looking at. So if we do have retracements in BTC and there is major selling that's happening and a lot of profit taken, those are key levels that you probably want to be paying attention to and looking at, and then looking at other variables as well too to see exactly, what is this where it's going to really start turning around, or does it have more of a downtrend to go? And what is this here? 9 days and 17-day moving average should kind of give you an indication. 5 and 10 is what I set it to. So these 5 and 10 is, should give you some sort of an indication, if this is going to be dropping further. And as long as our, 10-day moving average is above the 5-day moving average and it's dipping and it's retesting those 50 and 100 and 200, then that basically, she is going to have more of a correction to happen. And she's going to have to correct. She really is going to have to correct. This just can't keep going up and up and up. It's not healthy. It's great if you're in it, but it's not healthy. It just means that, when it does have a correction, it's just going to be a little more violent than it's been in the past. But then it's going to come right back up. So you just got to make sure not to panic. If you have strong hands, I don't know if Daniel's on this, if you have strong hands, don't panic at all. All right, let me get to some of the questions, but hopefully that was helpful on BTC and areas of retracements possibly. So I'm going to save this and I'll be, periodically taking a look at this to see exactly if it's going to retrace to those points. And you guys got to remember too, I'm looking at Bitfinex. I'm not looking at any other exchanges. On other exchanges, it could be a little different. Now the trend will be the same, but areas of retracements could be a little different. They're not going to be to the exact point of the areas of retracement that I plotted out on Bitfinex. All right, so let's see. Any questions you guys have? GL Flame 24, welcome, buddy, from New York. Nice. What would I say my ROI, my return on investment is since I started? When was that? So, I bought Bitcoin in 2014, February, March, I think, 2014, but I didn't buy a lot, 0.2, and then I sold it at $1,000. So I really wouldn't call that, really starting at that time. But really, I really heavily started trading when I started doing the live streams March 15th of this year. So basically, let's just say, well, March, April, May, June, July, August. So in about 5.5 months, I've made about maybe 300. I'm up probably about 370,000. I'm sorry, thousand. Yeah, right. 370%. That's basically what I'm up. I started out with, I mean, if you go back and watch my first video, and I mean, those videos are bad, to be honest with you, because nobody was on the live stream. So there was times where I wasn't even really talking at all, because I had no active people on the chat. I mean, it would be like 1 or 2 or 3 people on the live stream. But yeah, I started out with $8,000 is basically kind of what I started out with. And I think currently right now it's up to 28, 27. I'd have to do the math real quick. All right, sorry about that. But yeah, it's about, so I took 8,000 to about a little under 30,000 so far. But I haven't really been aggressive either. And I mean, if you guys have been on this live stream, I don't just hop on any trade in every trade. And I could be up a lot, and I probably should be up a lot. Compared, in comparison to how these cryptos are moving. A lot of them have moved, and I've been in some great positions where, I mean, I had like, over 400 Ether at like $30, 300 Litecoins at like 22, $23, so I mean, I took profits along the way. But if I would have held on and been long-term, and that's kind of what I say to a lot of new people that are coming on to this market, is become a long-term investor in these cryptocurrencies that have the solid foundation, not these pump and dump coins, like Chaincoin and a bunch of other coins that are out there. In the core coins, become a long-term investor. And any long-term investor, if they started out when I started out, would be a lot more than I'm up. But no, I'm happy with 21,000 profit in 5 months. Let's see, Secure Zone. Can you tell me more about hidden orders? Is there a way to spot them in Bitfinex, for example, in ETHUSD? Darkness says, good luck finding it. Yeah, good luck finding it, but there is a way. There really is a way. And you really have to be able to read the order book and, well, not the order book because they're not really in the book, but you have to be able to spot out, what's being executed and at what price it's being executed at. And then you really have to compare that to what's in the order book, either on the buy side or the sell side at that specific price. And if nothing in the order book on the buy side or the sell side, the price, that's the first thing, the first in, first out that's being listed. If those aren't matching up with what's actually being executed, what price point is being executed, that's how you kind of have an idea of that there is a hidden order in the book that's being executed. And there is an example of that I do have, but it's taken YouTube forever to upload the video. I mean, it's been over a week, and I did a video. I basically started recording, BTC breaking out above 4,000. And it's a 41-hour long video, and I'm trying to, basically upload it to YouTube and then be able to speed it up, almost like a time lapse. But it's got 5% left, and it's been stuck at 5% for a while, so I might have to delete it. But you could see basically, at that $4,000 level, there was no buyer at $4,000. There was no seller at $4,000. There was a seller at, I think from what I remember, 4,001. And then there was a buyer at like 3,999. I'm just making up these numbers, something to that extent. But there were orders being executed at that $4,000 level. So there was a hidden order that was being executed, and people were basically, buying it up from him. But yeah, that's really, I mean, yeah, you got to have an eye for it, and it could really drain you mentally looking at that. But yeah, but I've been able to see them, but you just don't know how much they're selling. That's the only thing. All right, so let's see. Man. Osiris is saying they show up as the price draws near to the sell point. They are placed. You can place a buy sell order that activates at a certain price point. Yes, to an extent, yes. The banksters are preparing for a collapse. The market should have collapsed already, man. It should have collapsed already. I mean, this is just 9 years, I think. I haven't really looked at the overall chart. 9 years in the bull market. Bull markets don't last that long in the traditional financial market. 5 to 6 years, 6 years at the max. Yeah, it's overinflated, and that crash is going to be bad. Once really North Korea starts, testing their powers and start really testing some nuclear weapons and whatnot, then that's when the market is gonna dip. And I remember in February of 2015, I think it was, North Korea, Saudi Arabia. I mean, Saudi Arabia was trying to fight with Iran, over oil production. They were basically putting out a proxy war because sanctions were being lifted on Iran, and Iran was able to sell their oil that they've been hoarding for years and years and years due to the sanctions. And Saudi Arabia didn't want them to sell at a high price, so Saudi Arabia caused basically the oil to crash down to like $25. And then North Korea was basically firing off missiles in the Korean Peninsula. And that caused the market to tank. And I remember it dropping and dropping and dropping. So, any crazy things that are going to be happening with oil in North Korea, and any type of war, really, if any war breaks out and the U.S. is involved, it's going to cause a downturn in the market. And it's preparing for it, I think. I think it's the billionaires that are propping up the market so that they can start scaling out slowly but surely. 100 EMA is a big support line. Yeah, it could be, man. It could be. That 36, 35, easily. And I had an order in. I mean, when this thing dropped here to 35.99, it dropped to 36 on actually 35.50. It dropped on Coinbase. I had an order in for $3,400, and I woke up and I was like, "Whoa, BTC dropped." I'm like, did I get my entry? And I was like, man, why didn't I put it in at $3,600? But yeah, I was buying two at 3,400. And but yeah, it tested, right at that 50-day moving average. It came right to it and bounced off. Rocky Mountain, welcome, buddy, welcome. Fist of Steel, yeah, dude, strong hands. I mean, congrats to anybody that's been holding and holding and holding cryptocurrency and holding and holding. Especially, the ones that are up, 5x, 7x, 10x. You guys are definitely being rewarded. Nationalist Pride, welcome, buddy. I'm glad you're on the live stream. How old am I, and do I trade full time? I used to trade full time, the traditional financial market. But that was, before we really started having kids. Now I got 3 kids. So that has kind of morphed into being my full-time job. But I try to trade full-time. The time is not there, especially if you have kids. But yeah, I mean, when it was just me and my wife, yeah, it was great. I traded full-time. But it was a traditional financial market. So after 4 p.m., I was done. You still have your LTC from May. Dude, that is sweet. LTC in May, man, it was cheap back then. It was cheap. Secure zone, not a problem, man, not a problem. And welcome to any new viewers that are on this live stream. And if you haven't done so already, please click on that subscribe button as well as the post notification, and stay connected with us on Steam, at Twitter, as well as Facebook. And also sign up for our mailing list, and you can do that by going to CryptoTradersRoom.com. There is a link at the bottom of this video. And when you sign up for our mailing list and answer the brief questionnaire, you'll be basically filling out an application for our general Slack chat. And that general Slack chat is a great place for like-minded people are getting together and talking about cryptocurrencies, and whether it's fundamental analysis or technical analysis, and really sharing some valuable information. And that's really what I would like to see happen with that room. It's just a lot of valuable information is being shared, and the more information that we can share, the better that we're going to be suited to making a very good informed decision on our trades. But yeah, so when you fill that application out, we'll get the questionnaire, and then we'll go through the questionnaire and send out some invites to join our general chat room. So, and if you have joined, welcome. It's great to have you guys. Once the collapse happens, what really happens? Something like the 2008 collapse. Yeah, I mean, that 2008 collapse was very severe, man. It was severe. It was pretty bad. I remember watching my 401k just dip like 45%. Oh, nationalist product, I forgot to answer your other question. How old am I? I'm 40. Unfortunately, I'm 40 years old, but I'm trapped in like a 20-year-old body. Everywhere I go, I get carded, and like I'll show up my ID, and like they give me this whole like, "Whoa, I'm sorry," and I'm like, "Nah, man." I'm like, "Thanks, it's a compliment. Appreciate it." But yeah, I get carded wherever I go. Sometimes it's fun, but then when I don't have my ID, it's like, come on, man. I'm 40 years old. Give me a break here. David, welcome. Gold versus BTC chart. Yeah, dude. I mean, BTC has overtaken anything, everything. But yeah, and I think, it's definitely going to start getting noticed now that, it's outperforming every other type of investment that's out there. There's nothing like this at all within a very short period of time. I mean, really, what, 8 years, 8.5 years, let's just say 9 years, within 9 years, going from nothing to just about five grand. I even sound like a 20, 30-year-old person. Thanks for that compliment. Thank you. I do appreciate it. And Andrea, man, I owe you a 101, and I owe a couple of you guys a 101, and you know who you are. And I've reached out to you guys. So, if you still are interested in doing the 101 conversation with me, I still owe that to you. So, I am open. Just let me know, and we can definitely do that. Keebs, good morning. Welcome. Welcome. All right. So let's go ahead and take a look at, we're going to take a look at F just really quick. I mean, I know, we've covered F before, and we kind of already have, the general idea of what it needs to break and what it needs to maintain in order for it to still be, very bullish, extremely bullish, or, once it hits that, extremely bullish, resistance line, is it going to go parabolic? Is that when the FOMO chasers are going to step in and really start chasing this thing? And these are 6-hour candlestick charts that we are looking at. So, I mean, this is a beautiful chart. I mean, definitely came down, and had nice little, fake outs, dead cat bounce, especially for long-term investors. These are dead cat bounces, but for, somebody that's a trader, a swing trader, locking in profits along the way, I mean, this is great. This is exactly what you want to see. You want to see these dips happen, going from $400, all the way down to 260, 250, and then coming right back up to 370. I mean, these are the nice little upswings that, traders look for, especially if you're in front of your computer and you're actively trading that day as the movements are happening. These are the type of moves that you do want to capture. And unfortunately, I'm not in front of my computer, day in, day out with 3 kids, where sometimes I do see these and sometimes I don't. But I've had some lowball offers in the book that have definitely executed and, made a good amount of money off of it. But yeah, this is a beautiful chart, and this is a healthy chart where it has that momentum. It's going to have, issues along the way. It's going to have dips. It's going to have little retracements. They might be little, they might be minor, 50, 60 bucks. But, in the long scheme of everything, I mean, this is still very healthy, and it's still uptrending, and it's still moving in the right direction. And it's going to break out. It's going to have that crazy breakout where it breaks out, 30, 40%, because somebody just says, you know what, this thing's been going up and I haven't bought in, and it's about to break all-time high, especially if it breaks all-time high, and it breaks that all-time high with a vengeance. And that's a clear indication of a parabolic move. People are going to hop in. Traders are going to hop in and take this up, but they're also going to be selling along the way. You got to remember that too. So, if it starts going parabolic, it's going to retrace right back down, and then it's going to start the upswing back up again. But yeah, if this thing goes parabolic, people will start chasing it. And then if you have people that are short, so hopefully nobody is short in this market. I don't think you can really short this. A bear market does not last long in the cryptocurrency market. So if you're going to short, make sure you're out of your position before you go to bed or before you leave your computer, because, cryptocurrency can just turn on you anytime. But, if this thing starts breaking, all-time highs, and there are shorts in this position, and especially if somebody's shorting this thing at the all-time high, thinking there is going to be a major retracement, and it just starts to break out, that person's got to cover their short position, or they're gonna get liquidated, or they got to add more to that short position and kind of average up, just like you would average down if you were in a long position. But if they don't have any capital to add to it to increase their cost average, and they don't get out of that position and they're being liquidated, or they're getting out of the position, and there's a lot of shorts that are getting out of their position because it's breaking all-time highs and they wanted to short at the all-time high, this thing will go parabolic. You got shorts that are buying to cover their position. You got FOMO chasers that are buying because they don't want to miss out. This thing can and probably will go parabolic, but it all depends. It's got to break out of that 411 on Bitfinex. Like, remember, I'm looking at Bitfinex. I'm not looking at GDAX. GDAX was $420, but on Bitfinex, it's got to break out above that $411 and break out of it with a vengeance. And as long as it can do that, then she can go parabolic. But if she just gets to it and retraces back down, then that would indicate that there is selling pressure. There are shorts that are shorting at that all-time high, and there's profit takers that are taking profit at that all-time high. So that will cause some sort of retracement. But overall, all in all, I mean, this is a very healthy chart. Very healthy chart. Andres, anytime, man. Anytime. I mean, let me know. And then, I know you're in a completely different time zone, but as long as it works for me, I'll definitely give you that time. David Carroll, good morning. Great chat. Thank you, man. I do appreciate it. Oni, welcome, buddy. Thank you for joining us. Yeah, dude, Oni, anytime, man. Anytime. I'm open. So you just let me know. And as long as I don't have anything, going on with the kids, yeah, dude, we'll definitely chat. Grab your favorite brew. Let's chill and chat. Speaking of chill and chat, so let's go ahead. I'm gonna go before we really get into looking at other charts and other cryptocurrencies you guys might ask me to take a look at. I'm gonna go ahead and award our last super chat contributor, or whoever contributed the most last month. So let me see. Man, YouTube completely changed everything, the layout. Let's see if I can find where it is. LTC is looking too bullish. I mean, it's making great moves, and it doesn't hurt to lock in profit when it's making these type of moves. It really does not. But yeah, ETH, I'm holding ETH, maybe to the end of the year, for the next 4 months. Yeah, dude, Ark, I would not scalp. Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, that you can't really, unless you are scalping, But for me, I'm not really into scalping unless I really want to take a trade. And I'm like, you know what? I'm tired of not taking trades. I'm going to go ahead and take a trade, and then I might, scalp it and not really hold long term. But yes, trading the cross between the 5 and the 10. Yeah, that just kind of gives me an idea of, what is it going to be downtrending for a longer period of time, considering, what the 10 has crossed under the, or the 10 has crossed over the 5, and it's getting ready to touch the 50 or 100 or 200. But yeah, unless you're scalping, yeah, don't trade on the 5 and 10 EMA. Yeah, dude. Rocky Mountain, dude. That's a great way of playing it, because if it does have that crazy spike, it's gonna retrace. I mean, if something's just gonna spike up like crazy and basically pretend like it's going to the moon, it's gonna have a retracement. And as long as you're there to capture that retracement, to add back that position and maybe add back a little bit more, then that's the best way to do it. But yeah, these moves happen when we're not really awake and watching it. Andreas, you seem to be the winner, buddy. Let's see. I got to figure out what is $5 in euro. Actually, Rocky Mountain. Rocky Mountain. You are the winner, buddy. So anytime you Rocky Mountain, anytime you want to chat, either over the phone or we could do it, on Skype. That's completely up to you. I'll give you my phone number. You can definitely call me anytime. But yeah, you are the winner for the month of August with a $20 super chat donation. So thank you so much. I do appreciate it. As well as Crypto Soldier, Asher, Zing, and Andrea. Thank you guys so much. I mean, this is great that you guys are being very generous with the money that you have and willing to donate that to Crypto Traders Room. So thank you to everybody that has donated. Thank you so much. But Rocky Mountain, anytime you want to chat, buddy, I'm available. Just let me know and I'll send you a direct message on Slack and give you my number. All right, let's see if I can get a LTC chart to load. Let's see what this is done on a daily. And impressive move, definitely impressive move, especially within the past, couple days from the 26th on. So these are, 1-day candlesticks representing 1 hour's worth of price action, price movement. And I mean, for the past 1, 2, 3, 4, see 2, 4. For the past 8 days, this candlestick hasn't closed yet, and it is at its high basically, but it has not closed. But look at RSI. RSI is just starting to really peak. And RSI, and I've talked about this in the past in the cryptocurrency market, and you really have to tailor it to a little different with every cryptocurrency. So on here, it's breaking out above, to be completely overbought, it's breaking out above like 89, basically, getting close to 90. That seems to be where it's completely just, overbought. And then oversold really seems to be in the 40-ish, between 40 and 45. So oversold, on this is really not 30, 20, 30 or 20. It's really 40 or 45. That's really what this is telling us. Especially when we're looking at this on a longer term period. So if this, RSI kind of starts to dip to that 40 range, 45 range, and depending where the price action is and representation of the battle between the bears and the bulls, that might not be a bad idea to take an entry, if you're looking at this over the long period of time. And that retracement would probably be, somewhere in the range of the $56, $55, if it does retrace. So if it does retrace and has a crazy retracement, that 55 would be a key level. And if it does get to 55, then, we should see the RSI kind of start dipping down close to that 40-ish range, anywhere in the range of between 45 and 40 range. And that might not be a bad area to kind of take a position. But yeah, this is up a couple of days and it is going to have a retracement. It's going to have a pullback. It's not going to keep going up and up and stay up. It's going to have a little pullback. It's going to retest key areas. And the only way for us to kind of look at key areas is we really got to get a little granular on this. If this chart ever loads. Yeah, that's the only problem with Bitfinex. The chart seems to lag sometimes, especially, if you're trying to change the time frames. But 79.99, the sky's the limit. You don't know where the top is on this. We don't know where it's going to have a retracement. We can just look at it and be like, you know what, it's up so high, too fast, too quick. It has to have that retracement. And you just got to be happy and start locking in profits along the way. And maybe start locking in just a little bit of a profit, especially if you're just, if you're looking to lock in profit. If you plan on holding this to the end of the year, then, this isn't something you want to do. But I wish I can get this chart to load. But yeah, you really don't know where the top is. So the only way to really capitalize on this and take a bigger slice of the pie is just to start locking in profits. just start selling a little bit and see what it does. Sell a little bit and see what it does. But let's see where areas of retracement might be. That 55 is going to be key. Definitely going to be key. And that's as long as it breaks through the $60 range, 55 and 60, because 55 and 60, there was really a good amount of fighting that was happening, between the bears and the bulls, trying to really figure out the direction of which way it's going to go. And the bulls held this thing up. They held it up above 60. And that's what I told somebody on our Slack chat. I said, if this thing maintains 60 and holds 60 as a strong support, that 80 is attainable. I think I said 80 to 100. It should be easily attainable for it. And there's $80 right now that I just touched. $80 for Litecoin. LTC going to 100? Dude, easily. I mean, it'll probably surpass that 100, prior to the end of year or close to the end of year. I mean, this is really, winter's here. Momentum is coming back to the market, and it's coming back with a vengeance. And we're seeing it with, these major cryptos. I mean, they're moving. LTC. I mean, I'm looking at it on my other screen, 1650. And we'll take a look at LTC after this. But yeah, 1650 to almost 21 bucks. I think it hit $20.99, something to that extent. But yeah, so 65 bucks is going to be a key level, considering, that's where it was basically held up between that 65 and 60. So if she does retrace, that's a big if, before hitting 100, that could be an area that, to look for, and exactly, kind of pay attention to exactly what the RSI is doing. RSI 89.69 right now. And as we can see on the RSI, I'm going to enlarge this a little bit. RSI is starting to possibly curve. So we'll pay attention to this RSI and see if this RSI starts to curve and starts to dip as the price is still going up, because that just indicates to you that, the dip is happening. It's going to happen. It just hasn't happened yet. But yeah, 60 to 65 is going to be key level, and then that 55 as well too. And if it does crack the 55, which I don't see it cracking it anytime soon, unless there's a catastrophic event that's happening in the cryptocurrency market, then 50 bucks, anywhere between 50 and 45-ish. But yeah, I think this has got more of a run, but it all depends. I mean, we're profit takers, going to be taking profit. But yeah, RSI to be almost 90, it's just crazy. It is crazy. Yeah, this does not follow the traditional financial market in the sense of the RSI. RSI is usually, a lot of traders stick to that 70 and 30. But in the crypto world, 80, 90 on some of these coins, that the RSI can really get to. All right, let's take a look at Ethereum Classic, up 24%. So yeah, big winners, Litecoin, Ethereum Classic, 24%, 20%. Do I like the money flow indicator? I've looked at it in the past. It's all right. I don't know. It's nice to know, which way money is flowing and when money is flowing. Actually, let's go ahead and load that up. So, and money flow indicator, it's almost the same thing as, kind of, the same layout as an RSI. It tells you basically when money's flowing in, and then as well as when money's kind of flowing out. So, I mean, this is, also a lagging indicator as well, too. So you really can't look at this and say, whoa, money has completely flowed out, because it went from 80 down to 20. But, basically it was just consolidating. So that's why I really don't like it. This could be very misleading. All right. Yeah, exactly, Keebs. Yep. Basically see that majority of the money, what's flowing in, and is money flowing out, or is money flowing in? Yeah, it's another indicator to use. I wouldn't rely on that solely. And I think, I mean, you know as well as I know that's not, you don't rely on one indicator. So but yeah, to have it as another mean of trying to figure out the probability. So there's tons of indicators you can use to try to figure out, the probability of what it's going to do. Especially if you're the type of person that's going to really sit there and analyze it and try to get a very good position instead of just getting in blind and having to go up. And in the cryptocurrency market, that's really what is happening. I mean, it seems like you can get in blind on just about any cryptocurrency, and then it goes up. Just throw a dart at some of the popular cryptocurrencies, and whatever it lands on, hypothetically speaking, I wouldn't do this personally, to be honest with you, but whatever it lands on, it's like, oh, okay, I'll put money in that, and then it just goes up. I mean, it's a crazy market. It is a crazy market. All right, LTC. So LTC, and I told Andreas that actually, I do have a buy order in for LTC. I completely forgot about that. $17 to see if it retraces to that level. It probably won't. But yeah, they took it down right here. It took it down to $11.69. And, I said, really, I was like, I would throw everything at it at like, under $12. And they dipped it down, and I thought they would, dip it down further and maybe get it close to that $10 range. And $10 was a key level a while back. So if we look at the 1 day, if this thing ever loads. Paul Hensey, thank you so much, man. Thank you for subscribing and welcome. I'm glad you found us. There's a lot of new people that are joining, and thank you guys so much. So that $10, right here, basically, that it retested hardcore, came right down to it. And these are 1 day candlesticks that we're looking at. And that price range was really, $15 and $9.70. I mean, that's a big difference. Basically $5.30 of a difference of a price spread between the high and the low on that specific day. So, when I saw this, I thought they would actually bring it down further, bring it down to kind of retest that $10. But nope, for it to even dip under $12, I mean, that was impressive. That was good. But yeah, been going up for 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 14 days for the past 2 weeks. It's been making nothing but up move, from $12 basically all the way to $20.98. Let's just say $21. $9 increase there. So, it needed to do this. It hadn't, basically made these type of moves in a while. It was pretty stagnant. I mean, it was just kind of moving sideways with nice little upticks and then downticks, especially on the 1 day candlestick. But, with LTC and ETC, this was a move that, was way, way overdue. It needed to do it. Were there fundamental reasons behind it? I don't know. I'm going to say probably not. It was just something that was stagnant for a very long period of time. And that, traders looked at this, or maybe a well looked at it and said, you know what, man, this hasn't moved. I'll go ahead and give it a little bit of a push, and then let the, retail traders kind of take it up higher for me. And that could be the reason why it's gone from 16 to almost 21. A whale just kind of seeing it being very stagnant and saying, you know what, I'm just going to go ahead and give it a little bit of a push, help it out a little bit, get it going. And then the crowd will follow and take it up even higher for me. But yeah, so Andreas, if you got in this at $12, that's awesome, man. That's awesome. But, it is going to have resistance. It's blown through a good amount of the resistance. And let's go ahead and probably look at the 6-hour chart. Andrea, thank you for that comment, man. The best. I appreciate it. But yeah, let's go ahead and see, man. I probably got to get a little more closer look at this, maybe 3 hours. I think like $23. I sold at $23. I mean, long time ago. So I basically unloaded everything else that I had. I forget how many I was left with at 23 bucks. So 23 bucks was the high. I think it might have peaked a little bit over 23 bucks. But I'm trying to get the overall chart to kind of load to kind of figure out, okay, you know, what was the high, the exact high of this on Bitfinex? But I'm going to say 23 bucks might have been the high. All right, so since Bitfinex is not really cooperating, we'll go ahead back to my old faithful crypto watch. Yeah, Andreas, just you know, fill out that questionnaire on our website, and then we'll get your application. And once we review your application, we'll go ahead and start sending out invites. So 23.30 was the high. 23.30. So we're gonna say 23 bucks. 23 bucks. And I'm gonna go ahead and get rid of all of these other, you know, lines of basically support and resistance that I had drawn out, because as of right now, they don't mean anything considering the price is way, way, way above it. But 23 bucks, you know, that basically is going to have, it's either going to break out of it with a vengeance, or it's going to touch it and kind of retrace right back. Well, not right back to where it came from, but it's going to have a retracement. And then it's just basically trying to figure out, okay, you know what, where could it possibly retrace to? You know, where are there possible areas, you know, where there was a good amount of the fighting that happened between the bears and the bulls, and, you know, the bears kind of held it down before the bears decided to, or the bears held it down before the bulls decided to kind of take it up. So, I mean, we're going to have different areas, but it's a little choppy. It's very choppy. You know, but that's 16 bucks. You know, I have an order in for 17 bucks. That's kind of where my order is sitting at, to see if it has a nice retracement right back to where she started from today before really making a crazy move. And if she does have a violent drop to that level, you know, more than likely, I mean, I don't think she's going to get right back up to 21 bucks, but, you know, she could have a nice little uptick, you know, within a good 5 to 10 minute candlestick, or 5 to 15 minute candlestick, and have a $2 increase. But between that 17 and 16.75, I would say would be a nice area of possible retracement. Unless I look at this a little more granular instead of the 12-hour chart. So let's go ahead and get to 2 hours. I don't think 2 hours is going to do me any justice. But this has been very ugly, very choppy for a very, very extended period of time. $13 is going to be a very important level. Yeah, I mean, this is a big gap between that 16.75 and 13. It's a big gap. It's very choppy trading. So plotting out really support on this is going to be a little tough. You know, it's not as easy as some of the cryptocurrencies where, you know, you can see the pattern, you can see the trend, you can see where the consolidation happened, you can see where, you know, it had a crazy uptick. But yeah, this is just choppy, up and down swings. But, you know, these are just the probabilities, you know, they're not 100%. You know, you got to look at other probabilities as well too, to kind of determine, okay, you know what, I think what I plotted out is a pretty good support line. But, you know, that other area really is going to be right around $14.50, $14.25, somewhere to that extent. But I'm going to go ahead and put it right at, you know, $14.35. So right in that area there. So it could have these little areas of retracement. But yeah, this is up high. It's up too high, too fast, probably without any news. I mean, you know, well, so ETC is having a summit, and I forget when that summit is, September And I had it written down. Actually, November 13th to November 14th. So it's having basically a 2-day summit in Hong Kong. And I told somebody in our Slack chat, I said, people could be probably buying the rumor, of something good coming out of that summit, and then they're going to be selling the news. So this could be in anticipation to November. I mean, even though, that's a month and a half away, November 13th, November 14th, it's a month and a half away. This price action movement could be built into the news or the rumor, and then they'll be selling the news when it comes out, because really more than likely, if they don't really produce anything positive or say anything positive on what they're working on and their roadmap and what they've solidified, this thing could come right back down to that $14 range. So this could just be, buying on the rumor of the summit, and then they'll be selling the news. So we'll see around November, 14th, November 13th, exactly what does happen to the price action on Ethereum Classic. But unless something positive really comes out of that summit, to really propel this thing to new highs. And I think, $50 was end of the year target that I gave this. And as long as something good does come out of that summit, then yes, it has the possibility to really completely break out. I mean, this thing could get to an all-time high just based on the rumor, and also based on the type of move that it's made just today, from $17 all the way out to almost $21 and $4 increase. So for it to get to $23 and, and possibly hit that resistance and then kind of maybe have a little bit of retracement back down to, the $21 range, $20 range before they take it up, as long as people are still going to be buying the rumor and then selling the news. But if the news is good, yeah, this thing could really, have a 50% gainer. But we'll see. We'll see exactly how that plays out. Look at the 200 for support on what line are we talking on? Which cryptocurrency, ARK? Are you talking about on ETC? I'm assuming, right? That $15, the crossover. We'll see though. I mean, I am looking at a 6-hour time frame as well too. Bill, you're back. Are you out of holding? I don't know if you're still in holding. Yeah, that 15 could also be a very important level. So let me go ahead and put a 15 on there. Yeah, this thing could get up. I mean, it'll definitely get above $21 today. Making money. Yeah, dude. I'm sure you're making money too, man. You were heavily leveraged on BTC. BTC blew up, man. I mean, hopefully you got, you're still in that position, and because yeah, you'd be up big. XRP, I don't know. I don't know about XRP. It is up though. I mean, it's up, but I don't know if the fundamentals have really changed. And I mean, good news might come out with Ripple, but I don't think it means anything for XRP unless banks really start utilizing XRP for their intercontinental transfers. If they can, then that's great. That'll do good thing for XRP, but it might do banks being involved is going to do better for Ripple than it is for XRP. But you got to remember too, there's a lot of people that are coming onto this market and reading about Ripple and XRP. Basically, they think it's Ripple and that's what they're buying, and that could be what's causing the price to really go up, because people are thinking, oh, I'm investing in Ripple, but they're not. They're buying the coin that banks don't even really want to use yet, unless Ripple really forces them to use it. That's the only outcome that I can think of. Ripple should really force banks to use their XRP token for transfers. They really should. And if they make that mandatory, and if banks really like the Ripple technology and instead of Swift, then yeah, I mean, they could force them to use it. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to get this chart to be able to load properly today. But yeah, overall market is looking good. And I'm very surprised that Ether has not really broken out. And when I mean broken out, I mean really gotten to the $400 level. It's being pretty stagnant, which isn't a bad thing at all. But yeah, 395 is what it got to today. 391 is the current price that it's at. Can it get to 400 bucks? Yes. But this isn't really a clear indication of a crazy momental run or, crazy parabolic run, for us to kind of witness. I don't see that happening, even if this thing gets to 400 bucks, because it's very close to it and it hasn't done it already. So it could just basically move sideways and maybe dip to 385, 375 before coming back up. But yeah, it should have already broken out with a vengeance above that 400 bucks and really maintain the 400 bucks. It didn't have to break out above that 411 all-time high on Bitfinex, but it should have already maintained 400 bucks and gotten to 400 bucks. So we'll see how this plays out over the weekend. Bill, that's awesome. You're still in that position, man. That is awesome. Yeah, dude. I mean, you're probably, dude, you should probably be on the beach right now trading with the amount of leverage that you had and how high BTC has gone up. I think BTC was like what, 1,500 bucks, and you're like, dude, I'm going all in. You're like, BTC is gonna go up and up and up and up. And I remember saying to you, man, I'm like, man, playing with margin and leveraging that much, I'm like, you're drinking water out of a fire hydrant. But little did we know, what BTC would do. But I think you had an idea. Let's take a look at SAND real quick, and then that's going to be really the last thing that I do look at. I don't think there was really news for ETC, but there is a summit that they're going to be doing in Hong Kong on November 13th to 14th. So is it buy the news and so, I mean, is it buy the rumor and sell the news? That's what I think could be. Unless there is news out there that the average trader, the average investor is not aware of, that only insiders would know. That's the only thing that I can possibly think of. Theo HX, welcome. First time I'm seeing your name, as well as Roberto. Thank you guys for joining and finding this live stream. But yeah, let's see. Based on Ripple's estimate, a bank can reduce the cost of processing remittance by 33% using Ripple's technology, and by 60% if they basically couple it with XRP. So, I mean, the question then is, why are they not utilizing XRP? If they can increase, the processing remittance by basically almost 100%, going from 30% to 60%, why are they not utilizing it? I mean, it's a no-brainer. I mean, if a financial institution, or really any institution, can reduce their costs, by 60% instead of only reducing it by 33%, why have they not jumped on board? So I don't know. I like to try to think outside the box, because really anybody would say, dude, I'm going to reduce my cost by 100%. Yeah, why would I not utilize it? But that's not the case at all. And yeah, I'd have to read into that a little bit. I don't know who the CEO and president of SBI Holdings is, but is he a big holder of XRP and he's trying to pump XRP? Possibly. Trust takes halfway, so meet halfway and then make the jump when they are ready. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what how the banks kind of see XRP. I don't even think they want to utilize it, really. All-time high beginning next week. It should do it. It should have already done it. It should have already done it. I mean, basically 16 bucks from its all-time high on Bitfinex, especially, that's very attainable. So, but maybe by Saturday. I mean, if it's gaining 10 bucks, and be 10 bucks from what's the price now? 190, 191. I mean, that's basically 2 days. In 2 days, it can get to that 111 bucks. So 390, 391 plus 20. It should by this weekend. Hopefully by Monday. By Monday's live stream, we'll see a crazy move, and we'll see if I start locking in just a little bit of the profit, just a little bit. And I mean, I am up a lot. I mean, I had an entry at very high entry, and not by choice, as you guys know, but an entry at like a little under 318. So I mean, I'm up pretty good, and I'm happy with that. So If this thing really breaks out and breaks above that 420 and gets to 450, 475, 500 real quick, it's only going to have a retracement back down to possibly 450. So I'd rather lock in some profit along the way. Slow and steady for F. Yeah, that's the way it's been for Litecoin as well too. Oni, thank you for joining, man. I do appreciate it. And yeah, we only got a couple more minutes left on this live stream. But yeah, thank you for joining. Have a great weekend. Try to enjoy your day at work. But yes, so SAN. I am still in SAN position. I have not sold SAN yet. Well, I sold prior to me being shaken out of my position. But yeah, this thing hasn't really been moving. It's kind of been testing at 42 cents. So 42 cents is really, not a bad level to kind of look at if you are interested in SAN. If you're not interested in SAN, don't even get into it. I like SAN though, and I'm basically, giving them a little support because I firmly believe, the project that they're working on, not that they're going to complete the project or that they'll be successful. I like the idea of the project that they have. Traders, like myself and anybody else that's a trader, Wells, institutional investors, hedge fund managers. I mean, they rely on the data feed and news feed that they will hopefully be providing, to every trader in this cryptocurrency market. So that's really why I'm supporting them. But yeah, I mean, they could definitely not produce, on their promise to be able to be the Bloomberg of the cryptocurrency market. But yeah, it likes to retest that 42 cents. It really likes to retest that 42 cents. So 42 cents is a baseline that it is forming. And I think it cracked below 42. Did it crack below 42? I don't think it did. Now 42 is a level that it likes to kind of retest. So a couple of times it had a chance to retest it, to retest below it. It didn't retest below it. So right over here, basically 43. Here is 42. And then in this range here is 43 and 42 and a half as well too. So that 42 seems to be, it's somewhat solid. And I thought the 45 was solid. And that's really when I started adding majority of my position was really at that 45, based on prior resistance becoming current support. And so far, yes, it is holding up, but it did crack through that 45 momentarily, and kind of stuck at the $45 range, or I wish 45 bucks, and kind of stuck at that, 45, a little under 45 cents. So hopefully, that is going to be the support for it, considering, prior resistance became current support. And that's really why the reason why I got into this trade a while back at 25 cents. If you guys can remember, because that 25 cents was just a prior resistance. And once it broke out of it, and came back down, I knew that was going to be a support. And it actually broke below 25 cents. It got down to 22 cents and my entry was 25 cents. So this is kind of having almost the same type of setup as it did before. Remember, it's all patterns and probabilities, and that's kind of what we're looking for, not fundamental analysis, considering, the fundamentals are not there yet for SAN. Couldn't they be there? Yes, as long as they produce on the promise of being the Bloomberg and news feed and data feed that every trader is going to kind of rely on. So, I'm playing that 45, and that's where I added majority of my position based on what happened in the past, where that 25 was a strong resistance, broke out of it with a nice vengeance, and then came and retested that. And that's kind of when I got into that position. So we'll see. I don't really plan, if this thing gets to $1, yes, I will be looking to unload, definitely, and then probably buy back in the 55, 60, well, more likely 65, 60 cent range, because it is going to have a retracement. So if it has a crazy parabolic move of 100% and gets to that $1, I'm out of my position, and I'll add onto it, on a nice retracement, to hopefully that 60, 65. But we'll see what it does. And RSI, on a 1 hour candlestick did touch 20, but, it wasn't that major of a drop though. It wasn't that big of a drop. So that tells me, that 42 cents, 45 cents is going to be a very solid hold unless something crazy happens. And Bitfinex says everybody has until tomorrow to get out of their position. And then, of course, same thing that happened before, about a month ago, less than a month ago, is going to happen again. where it's going to cause a downtrend. It's going to cause panic selling because Bitfinex is giving, traders a couple days to get out of their position. I'm the Sandman. Do I see NEO moving up anytime soon? I'll you know what? I'll look at NEO. I'll look at NEO before I end this live stream. Clams and STR both heading north. I mean, some of these cryptocurrencies are going to have corrections, especially if they've been beat down to the ground. And, it doesn't hurt to take a little bit of a position on something that has been beat down, especially if they have good fundamental. If the fundamentals are not there and the fundamentals suck, then no, it doesn't matter. There's a reason why it's being beat down. But if the fundamentals are good, the development is good, the community has a very strong backing of the community, then yeah, when it's beat down, that's a perfect time to start building a position and, and expecting a long-term hold, nothing short-term, to be honest with you. Especially on a lot of these coins that have been beat down, it's, long-term hold is good. I don't know why I'm looking for NEO on CoinMarketCap. I know they're on Bittrex. All right, NEO. Let's see how bad of a beating NEO has taken. Ooh, 650,000 Satoshis. Man. Who asked me about that? Earcurse. I don't even know if I'm pronouncing that right, but I do apologize if I butchered it. But dude, hopefully you didn't take a very high position in this. And remember, so last live stream, I said, this drop here should have caused some sort of an alarm. And I didn't know why it had dropped. And somebody had mentioned it was due to, I forget what coin was being built on their platform, what ICO, and then China was banning the ICO. So are they going to ban every ICO that's being built, on NEO's platform? So, and I said, basically, this drop here should throw a red flag, and you should be very cautious, very, very cautious. There is more downtrend that's going to happen. If this was just a little bit of a sell-off, somebody just taking profit, it would have come right back up and, been hovering or consolidating in that range. But it's definitely not. It's giving you a little bit of a false hope, a little bit of a dead cat bounce, especially for long-term traders that are looking to hold this long-term. Day traders, oh, they're loving this. Dips to 665 and goes right up to 795. Yeah, I mean, they're buying and selling and locking in those profits. But yeah, it's going to retest those levels, and really if it's going to break this level here. So this level was, let's see, exactly 650,000 Satoshis on the dot. This level here, let's see. So 650 seems to be the low that it had actually set from having a crazy bull run. Let's take a look at the 1 day. Would I buy NEO here? Dude, I don't know. I mean, I have no clue. A tweet from China banning ICOs. And I mean, we remember what China was doing with BTC. BTC was just volatility left and right when China would make a statement. When China would fart BTC would dip. I mean, that's all China had to do back then. Now I don't think it really matters. I think it's proven that China cannot really affect the price movement of BTC. So if China's banning ICOs, I mean, this is not good for NEO. It is not good at all. Unless China kind of retracts their statement. I didn't see the tweet that they put out. But yeah, I mean, this thing could really test 530, 540,000 Satoshis. I wouldn't even, to be honest with you, I wouldn't even get in there for a long-term hold. I would be looking to get in there for a scalp, for a nice dead cat bounce, lock in the profit, because it could have other retracements. It's going to have selling pressure now that, China's being involved in banning ICOs. It's going to have major retracements. And, I think this is just kind of the start of it. So, I mean, this chart, I did a side-by-side comparison between NEO and PIVX. And, at that time, it was the patterns were forming. It was looking exactly, they were looking exactly alike. And I think now that the probability of it even, being identical is greater now that we're having these drops, down to 650, 651. But yeah, I would pay attention to really the main level, and that main level is going to be, anywhere in the range of 540,000 satoshis to 530,000 satoshis. That's the level that I would kind of pay attention to, especially if you're interested in NEO. I mean, I'm not interested in NEO at this point, knowing that China's banning, ICOs that are being created on their platform. I mean, why would I even want to touch that? I mean, that was really, this was supposed to be the Ethereum killer, but it looks like China's killing NEO, with banning the ICOs that are being built on their platform. So, that's maybe the level that I would kind of look for and say, okay, you know what? I am interested in NEO. I think this news from China, will be kind of shaken out. Maybe I'll take a little bit of a position. I wouldn't go all in, knowing what's going on in the background with China. I would not at all. Now, let's just say hypothetically, there was nothing going on with China, and this is just profit taken after profit taken after profit taken, then maybe I would take a very, sizable position, not a very large position, but a nice sizable position where I would see the gains. Right at that 540, 530, maybe 500,000 satoshis if I wanted to be a little more greedy, just to see exactly what it would do. But knowing exactly what's going on with China and banning ICOs, I don't know. I wouldn't put a very large sizable position in it at that 540, 530. But yeah, this would be interesting to watch. Exactly, what is NEO going to do? Is NEO going to go right back down to where she came from? That 10,000 Satoshi range. Oh, I'm sorry, 100,000 Satoshi range. Is she? Possibly. You just never know. You never know. But if she does decide to completely break and just break and break and break because people are panicking, because China's farting out NEO, they're farting and they're speaking NEO, then yeah, you know what? The last level that I would probably take a more of a sizable position and probably hold it long term to see what it would do would be right around the 245, 250,000 Satoshis. It seems to have built a very good baseline, between that, actually between the 240 and 200 is what I would say. It seems to have built a very good baseline there before it had a crazy push. But you got to definitely pay attention to the news on China if you're trading NEO or investing in NEO. So hopefully nobody bought this at the top. If you did, hopefully you had a plan of action and you stuck to it. And if you're still holding, I would have to wait until something, good comes out of China for me to say, I'm going to add to that position to lower my cost average. Or, I didn't put too much into it. I only put $100 into it. It's not that big of a deal. If I only put $100 into it, I would wait to see this thing bottom out and then I would add more. But considering, what's happening with China, I don't know. I definitely wouldn't put a lot of money into it. Definitely not. You bought at $7. So, I mean, you're up a lot. You're up a lot. So have you, I don't know what your plan of action was when you got into this trade. Were you like, what, if it goes up 100%, I'm going to lock in this profit. If it goes up 200%, I'm going to lock in this profit. I mean, if you bought at 7, it went to what, 46? I think it went up to $46. So I don't know if you locked in profits along the way. I mean, that's a huge increase from $7 to $46. So, I mean, you were buying it, when you were buying it when I was hearing about NEO. I think I heard about it at like $5, and I didn't buy it then, and I wish I would have bought it, but I would have already sold. I would have already sold, to be honest with you. I would have been locking in profits along the way, selling little increments and then selling more as it's getting higher and higher and higher, and just really the chart getting a little bloated. And that's kind of what happened. It got too bloated, and the bad news from China came out, and it caused it to dip, unfortunately. So China didn't ban the ICOs. Okay, so they just put them on hold until they decide what rules they want to employ in regards to ICOs. Okay, so I thought they put a ban on their citizens buying ICO. So as of right now, though, any Chinese citizens cannot buy NEO, or I'm sorry, not NEO, the ICO that's created on their platform. But they could ban ICOs. I mean, they really could if they wanted to. I mean, they wanted to ban Bitcoin a while back. I remember that. And then they came out and said, oh, we're not going to ban Bitcoin. So maybe is this a ploy? Because China really knows exactly how powerful NEO can be, and they don't want to buy NEO at $45. They want to buy NEO at $10. So could this be a ploy to get the price to drop so they could actually load up and buy more? I mean, especially considering they've seen what Ethereum has done, or Ether has done, going from $7 when I saw it in December all the way to $420. And if this is supposed to be the Ethereum killer or the next Ethereum, do they have that vision of this really getting up to that level? And they're really just spreading FUD or causing panic to cause the price to dip so they could actually buy in cheaper and be a long-term bag holder or a long-term holder. You still have 50% holding, so that's good. So you locked in some of the profit, and hopefully, you locked in some of the profit at a higher price than it's currently at right now. So citizens are on hold for ICO buys. Yeah, so we'll see how long they're on hold for. So really, any news that comes out of China in regards to NEO and ICO and their citizens be able to take advantage or take part in the ICO that's created on NEO. Really, I mean, we won't know exactly how far could NEO actually drop. And speaking of NEO, let's see what gas is doing. So has gas made the same? It was gas, wasn't it? Could be wrong. Can't seem to find it. Maybe it's not traded on Bittrex. Gas is down 11%. So we'll see exactly how low will these things go. I mean, they can really get low. If nothing is if nothing's coming out of China in regards to ICOs, or if something bad comes out of China, it's going to continue to dip, or it's going to continue to dip unless something positive comes out of it. And I mean, and the Asians can really drive this market, and they can really drive NEO and any coin that's built on their platform. But until positive news comes out of China, anybody holding NEO, or gas, might be in a very, very tough, tight position. Oh, dude, Rocky Mountain, you were absolutely right, man. You were absolutely right. And that's why I made that statement. Like I usually try to think of things just outside the box as to why, they're doing this. And to be honest with you, I wouldn't be surprised, when they were just spreading crazy shit, way back in the day about BTC, banning BTC, if they weren't loading up and stocking up and stocking up. I mean, I haven't heard anything bad about China and BTC recently, especially, with them really clamping down on the exchanges. That's completely subsided, like nothing at all. So, I mean, they're going to cause, they could easily cause fear. They could easily cause panic and easily start buying at the bottom. Nothing's preventing them at all, from buying. I mean, this is the government of China. They could basically do whatever they want to do. Yeah, metals. I'm not really into precious metals. I do have some silver, and basically they're silver coins that, old silver coins from like 20s and 30s. But I don't really collect metal. You think NEO might be better prepared to work with China? Yeah, I mean, considering it is a Chinese, cryptocurrency, possibly. China might open up their hands and say, hey, this is what we want. So anything's possible with China. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, China's very smart. I mean, it is a very dominating country, and in my opinion, and I don't mean to offend anybody, but they could be the superpower. I mean, U.S. owes so much money to China. China has so much of U.S. debt. I mean, if you think about it, U.S. is only able to pay the interest on their debt to China. They can't even afford to pay the principal. Yeah, so it's a little scary. It's a little scary. You have a bunch of metal, you'll sell them when they pay off your house. Yeah, it might take a while, man. I think you might be better off in putting that in cryptocurrency, Rocky Mountain. I'm sure, Bitcoin and Ethereum and a lot of these cryptocurrencies have paid for people's mortgage and have bought bought somebody a car. I mean, honestly, I could have taken, the 21 grand that I made and gone out and bought a car and been like, you know what? I didn't work for this. Well, I mean, I wouldn't say work for it. I mean, I did kind of work for it a little bit, but not in the traditional sense of going out and earning it 9 to 5, Monday through Friday or 7 days a week. Some people work. Cryptocurrency would have paid for that car. And I'm sure cryptocurrency specifically has paid for people's houses and for people's, livelihood, basically. But yeah, I would get out of metals. I mean, look at gold. BTC's outperforming gold. So you could have probably paid your house off or your mortgage off in no time, and land, and bought more Rocky Mountain. Yeah, U.S. has more debt than the rest of the world combined. Yeah, it's scary. It really is scary, and it's only going to get worse as time goes on, to be honest with you. If U.S. can't even pay down the interest on the loan that they have from China, I mean, that could be the start of World War III. I mean, honestly, it could be the war of debt. Countries are going into war because other countries are not fulfilling their obligation of paying their debt. Yeah, limit the stocks to near nothing. Yeah, get out of stocks. Get out of stocks. What's the ad to the right of my screen on this here? September 7th, ICO starts. Real estate platform, invest, rent, trade. Atlant. I don't know what it is. But yeah, this is on CoinMarketCap. You guys know I don't really participate in ICOs. I have not participated in one ICO. I don't really plan on participating in any ICOs. I would rather wait until they get listed on an exchange and then kind of look at the price action movement and maybe, look at the fundamental side of it and say, okay, you know what? Is this a good trade for me to get into? Instead of getting in at the ICO and then not being able to get out when it gets listed on an exchange and then they drop it down to nothing because the whales are lined up to sell before I can even sell. Remember the Weimar Republic? I do not. I do not remember that. I'm gonna write that down and do a little bit of research. Maybe Rocky, maybe we can talk about that when we have our one-on-one. I'll shoot you my phone number, man. You can give me a call whenever you want to chat. Just being from Atlanta has piqued your interest. First you've ever heard or seen of it. Matt, I'm trying to think in regards to what? Oh, okay. I gotcha. In regards to the September 7th ICO. You're going to throw a buck at the hometown coin. I don't even know. Are they based out of Atlanta? They could be. Or maybe they, I don't know. I haven't really looked at that. You don't touch ICOs either. Yeah, I don't blame you. I don't blame you. Wait for them to get listed. Wait for them to get listed. Unless you got a lot of money. If you're a whale, then yeah, you know what? If the ICO goes to shit, it doesn't matter because you got millions and millions of other dollars. But that's it that I have for today. I think I got to all the comments. I try to be as interactive as I can with everybody. And congratulations to Rocky Mountain for being the biggest contributor on Super Chat and for the month of August actually winning that contest. So every month, I'll be taking a look at the Super Chat and see, who has, the biggest contribution, and go ahead and give back a little bit of my time because you guys are being so generous, or ladies being so generous, with your funds, and you're donating to CryptoTraders Room. So thank you so much. Thank you to anybody new that has found this live stream. I hope you continue to come back. It's a great community that we are building. And if you haven't clicked on that subscribe button yet, as well as the post notification, make sure you click on that. Stay connected with us on Steemit, Twitter, as well as Facebook, and join our general Slack chat. And you can do that by clicking on or going to CryptoTradersRoom.com or clicking on the link at the bottom of this video or copying and pasting it. And then just basically answer a brief questionnaire, and then we'll get the application for the general chat Slack. And there's some great people on there sharing some great fundamentals, some technical analysis, and it's a door that's always open. It's a community that is nationwide from basically all over the world. So more than likely, depending on the time zone you're in, you'll find somebody in there, looking to chat because they happen to be in the same time zone as you. Whereas, I might be sleeping, and it might be, early morning or afternoon for somebody else in a different country. So thank you guys for joining. I do appreciate it. Keebs, not a problem. Matthew, thank you for joining, man. You have a great weekend. Everybody enjoy your weekend. Art, thank you for joining. Let me get to your last comment. It's about the banksters and who controls the military through money and fear. Money and fear, man. Hyperinflation, cheaper to burn the paper from the money than to buy the fuel. You know, some countries actually do that. You know, there were some UN peacekeepers in some third world countries. You know, they were using basically, you know, that country's currency as toilet paper, because toilet paper was actually more expensive than the actual currency of that country. So they were using, you know, a $1 bill, you know, from that country as to wipe, you know, their private parts. But yeah, it's crazy. But yeah, thank you all for joining. Once again, it is Friday. Enjoy your weekend. Be safe with your trades. You know, plot out your support and resistance. And anytime you're looking at the chart, you know, just look at it. You know, look at different intervals of the time frame. It doesn't hurt at all. You know, and if you have a multiple computer setup, you know, have a screen with a different interval of maybe 5 minutes, you know, 15 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour of the same chart, and look at the patterns. Pick out where your support and your resistance are and allow the trade to come to you. You know, something goes up so high, so fast, be careful chasing it. Yes, you could get in and make a little bit of money, but it's going to have a retracement, and you don't want it to retrace below your buy-in price. So it's better to kind of, you know, wait for it to retrace and come back down to you. More than likely, they do retrace. They don't just keep going up and up and up and up. The higher they go up so fast, the more of a major retracement that they are going to have. So, you know, be careful with your trades. Have a great weekend, everybody. Thank you for joining. I do appreciate it. Thank you to everybody that has clicked on that like button, that has joined our general Slack chat and been active on it. Until Monday. Until Monday, be safe. And currently burning cash bills in Venezuela to keep themselves warm. Man, I would have never thought of that at all. Burning cash to keep warm. Crazy. I mean, that could easily happen to the US dollar years and years and years down the road as cryptocurrency really becomes mainstream and nobody's utilizing the dollar. Nobody's utilizing banks, and nobody's putting money into banks. What is that going to do? It's going to reduce the total supply. Banks are not going to have any money that they can't lend out to anybody because nobody wants to take a loan, because cryptocurrency has paved the way and paid for their house and paid for their kids' education. So eventually, we're not going to need to rely on these banks that are really manipulating everything and manipulating us by saying, yeah, go ahead and put your money in our bank account. We'll pay you that 0.0000 of nothing interest. And we're going to take that money and lend it back to you because you want to buy a house. And we're going to charge you a 4% interest, 4.5% interest. So we're lending you your money. We'll house your money and pay you nothing, but we'll give you back your money when you want to buy a house and charge you a higher percent interest rate. You know, it's a crazy world, but hopefully it comes down to, you know, where banks are not going to be needed at all. But that's a whole different conversation we can have, because I can go on and on and on about it for hours. But thank you guys so much for joining. Peace and love. Stay safe out there, and nothing but the utmost respect.